Now at 11, the clock is ticking on a partial government shutdown, which hasn't happened in 7 years. And with lawmakers still at odds over health care tonight, the midnight deadline seems impossible to meet. Also locally, federal workers are bracing for missing paychecks or even being laid off. How there could be turbulence inside Atlanta's airport with TSA agents. We will be looking at that.
The issue comes in is when I don't receive a paycheck, how am I supposed to get to work?
More on the uncertainty and frustration coming up. Plus, a Cobb County church burns to the ground, but new tonight, leaders say they're keeping faith alive, how they plan to move forward as firefighters work out a cause. And in Athens, a jail program is keeping inmates busy while preparing them for a brighter future. The building blocks they've been able to gain through this new opportunity.
Live from Atlanta, this is CBS News Atlanta at 11.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jobina Fortson-Evans. We are going to get right to the looming government shutdown. Hours ago, Senate Democrats rejected a Republican bill to keep funding alive. Healthcare still remains a big sticking point, with Democrats not folding on their demands. Republicans say they won't entertain any changes to the legislation. A government closure could lead to thousands of federal workers being furloughed or laid off, and that could impact the world's busiest airport, which of course we know is right here. Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International at home. So that's where we find our Leandra Head. She has more on how TSA workers are feeling tonight. Leandra.
That's right, Jobina. We are less than an hour away from the government shutdown, and TSA workers are working tonight. As you can see right here behind me, we have a couple of workers, TSA officers actually finishing up their shifts. But tomorrow, that could be a different story, since TSA workers will not get paid once the government shutdown goes into effect at midnight.
You can expect more officers not being able to come to work due to the lack of means of income.
Worry is a growing concern for hundreds of thousands of federal workers, including TSA officers. They are considered essential workers and are required to work even in a government shutdown.
Most TSA officers live paycheck to paycheck. The issue comes in is when I don't receive a paycheck, how am I supposed to get to work? Where am I going to get the gas to put in my car to come to work? Or how do I feed my family? Or how do I buy diapers?
Aaron Barker is a TSA officer and the president of AFGE Local 554, the union that represents TSA officers. He says if the shutdown lasts longer than a few days, travelers will feel the impact.
Without having a paycheck is when the problems will arise.
I caught up with Antonio Gaines, a housing specialist with the Department of Housing and Urban Development. He also is a union leader for AFGE Local 1568. He represents federal employees.
We will be unsure as to when we will be paid.
Gaines worries that a shutdown will impact federal workers being able to take care of their families.
We have mortgages or rent to pay and be able to provide basic necessities for our families.
Since he is not an essential worker, Gaines is not required to report to work during the shutdown. If there is a government shutdown, will you come into work tomorrow?
No, I would not.
Gaines says that the uncertainty is frustrating.
And to continue to have to go through this iterative process of using federal employees as pawns in a shutdown is unnecessary, and it's quite frankly it's disrespectful.
Now, federal employees will receive back pay once the government opens back up, but federal employees are not the only ones feeling the brunt. Federal programs like food banks are also feeling the impact. You can actually head over to our website at cbsnewsatlanta.com to check out our full coverage on that.
Leandra, thank you so much. There have been 10 shutdowns since 1980. The last partial shutdown happened in December of 2018 during Trump's first presidency. It lasted 35 days. The main issue, funding over the U.S.-Mexico border wall. Before that was 2013 under the Obama administration. That one was a full government shutdown and lasted 16 days. The issue there, also health care and funding for the Affordable Care Act. And in 1995 under the Clinton administration. A partial shutdown lasted 21 days with lawmakers at odds over cuts impacting education and public health.